We're on to when I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous. About the past and about the future.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Draft Vice, and we are here, and wow, it has been a crazy weekend. I'm here with Mr. Sean Barry.
Hello.
Host of the Big Barry podcast and Two Mic Minimum.
That's right, I'm a dual podcast threat. Constantly listen to those. You want to hear about all the local comedy news and inside and outside of your scene for Two Mic Minimum. And you want to hear me be funny with my friends, listen to Big Barry podcast, which Walter will be on this week.
Also, what's your Instagram, Twitter
follow
handle?
me on Instagram at BigBarry63. You can follow my podcast at the Big Barry Podcast on Instagram and Two Mic Minimum on Instagram.
Awesome.
That's all my plugs.
And we are also here with our friend and other stand-up comedian, Harry Van Ness, if you remember him.
What's up? Just a little message to the listeners. Everything I say on this podcast 100% reflects the views of my employer.
There we go.
Smart.
And Harry, what's your Instagram, Twitter?
My Instagram handle is just Harry Van Ness because I'm not original at all.
That sounds very original.
No, that's a good. Like that's better just be your name.
I guess you're right.
Yeah, instead of Fartboy69, you know.
Or
Like,
Brojo Death Punch. Like, who the fuck fits like a Brojo Death Punch name, right?
What the fuck is that? What a loser.
Yeah. So anyway, you can follow me at Brojo Death Punch on Instagram, Twitter, and all platforms pretty much.
All social media.
All social media is Brojo Death Punch. And you can follow the podcast at Draftvice on Twitter, at Draftvice_football on Instagram. Check out that Instagram, man, because, like, we post so much weird shit. Or actually just mostly football shit.
Yeah. Sports.
Yeah, it's all sports. It's the football. Like, if you're going there for, like, sexy bikini girls, that's not going to be there. Sorry.
Well, it might be eventually. I mean, don't hold yourself back.
I mean, we could once this like podcast gets up there, then we'll be like the new Barstool Sports.
Yeah,
we'll go ahead and we'll
Barstool,
start paying women to be like
Chive.
half clothed on our website or Instagram.
Except we're not going to film people in the shower, right?
I mean, Harry, have you been in the shower recently?
No,
It
I do
doesn't
not
look like-
shower.
That's gross. You big bath guy?
Yeah, I'll be bath guy instead.
I'll film him in the bath. That sounds romantic.
Sponge bath.
Yeah. Getting nice and deep.
SpongeBob SquareBath. There we go.
There we go.
Anyway, so we usually start out with the fun draft stuff, and we'll get to that. But dude, there's been some breaking news in the world of the footballs.
Some breaking freaking moves. Andrew Luck of the Indianapolis Colts has formally announced his retirement last night.
Dude, that is crazy. And everybody I think found out about this like very awkwardly, right?
Yeah, I got a text from my brother just out of the blue. I was on the train home.
I heard it from my wife's boyfriend. I was shocked.
I got a text actually from somebody who was previously on the podcast. Like, dude, this is crazy. Is this true? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't have sources. So I looked. I saw it was Adam Schefter. He's usually got some good news.
It's pretty rare Schefter's wrong.
Every once in a while. See, I waited for Rappaport to come in and say something. And Rappaport like kind of
You have to
gives the thumb
my
up,
favorite
too.
thing about it is like like reporters who break sports news is that one guy will break it and the other guy will break that he just confirmed the other guy broke it. Like, that's my favorite thing.
My favorite thing when stuff is like reported on like Twitter is when Barry McCocken, or yes, that's the guy's name, he takes is like he'll pretend to be like Adam Schefter or Adrian Wachowski or whatever, just say something out there like Andrew Luck punched a Make-A-Wish kid. This is the worst thing to ever happen in the month of September, and then people will fall for it.
I like how you just outed them like Bruce Wayne is Batman. Barry McCocken's the fake Adam Schefter on Twitter.
Oh, there you go. Well, I mean, like, listen, he kind of deserves it. He's creating a little bit of a fake news hysteria. Yeah. So
I mean, yeah, he does. I mean, he's a menace to society. Oh, he's hilarious. So.
Yes. So, dude, what do you guys think about this? This is crazy. 29-year-old quarterback who everybody thought was going to play this season, right?
Yeah. No,
they thought this was going to be like one of the top picks for the Super Bowl. And now the odds for them going to the Super Bowl with Jacoby Brissett and Chad Kelly are probably a lot lower.
His name is Swag Kelly, I believe.
Swag Kelly.
Yeah, no, this was nuts, man. Like I knew Andrew Luck was banged up. I figured he was going to miss some time, but I didn't think he was going to freaking retire. I get it though. Like this guy has been just it's on the Colts because remember there was that stretch here where he had no offensive line and it was just getting beat up after every game. He was the only weapon on that team, and he still brought them to the playoffs a bunch of times. And now this is what happens, man. Like, football is a dangerous game. NFL doesn't stand for National Football League. It stands for not for long. Like, that you're in, you're out.
Yeah, it's like he he was the tow truck on that team for a while, and it ended up costing him his shoulder. He was basically out of the NFL for a year because of that shoulder, and then came back, and people weren't sure if he was going to be right last year.
Yeah, remember that was the big thing is I think it was like game 2 or 3 he played, and they had to make a Hail Mary throw, and they had to put in Jacoby Brissett to do it. And they're like, oh, is his arm not strong enough? And they purposely the next game had him throw a deep ball to, dismay the rumors. But clearly he hasn't been 100% since 2015 maybe.
Yeah, and I mean, but he played well at the end of last year.
No, he played great last year.
I think when he was confronted with this calf injury, it really kind of woke him up. It's like, dude, I have to go through this again. We don't even know what it is. There was a point where he didn't know if he was ever going to be able to throw a football again.
Yeah.
And then you got a lot of people who were like last night. I mean, this news broke at the wrong time. Like during your preseason game when your starter's not on the field and the backup who's going to be the starter week 1 is not on the field, but they're there and they're in the stadium and they're watching.
Yeah.
And now everybody knows, and he's in the stadium. That is the worst time. Like, that is the worst timing.
I will say now, the Colts fans are currently the worst fans in football.
I can name a fan base that might be a little worse.
No. As of right now, like, listen, it constantly changes who's the worst fan base in football, but right now the Colts, the absolute booing your guy as he walks on the field. Remember, he's retiring not because he wants more money. He's retiring because of injury.
You know what, Sean? I think you're right. Like Pats fans, as much as I hate them, they would never do that to Tom Brady. Like, the only way they would ever boo Tom Brady is if he married a black woman. That is literally the only way.
That's fair. Remember, he abandoned his kid.
Yeah, but he kisses the other one to make up for
that.
it.
And he beat up his daughter. People forget that too.
And he eats dogs. That's actually how he builds up his muscle mass, from what I've understood.
TB12 method.
There you go.
And kissing 8-year-olds, don't forget that.
People forget that.
I can understand, like, part of it might be the players are booing. I mean, listen, the fans that booed were fucking horrible. I think there's a bit of shock that goes into that fan base. I'm trying to look at it from their perspective. Listen, this guy's a player. I feel bad for him and that he's gone through all this, and I'm sure that in their mindset for that 2 seconds, keep in mind this news just broke, and they're all standing there going, "What the fuck?" I'm sure their heart just sank out. Granted, it's football. You can't take it that seriously. Like, I know we're doing a podcast on football, but you can't take it that seriously where it's like, oh, the guy who has gone through concussions, torn labrums, nearly destroyed his shoulder, now his calf is just not working like
the way he wants it to. Yeah, it's completely understandable. Like, that thing is just like, you're on Twitter, you're reading, like, they gave out the reasoning why behind it. It's not like, oh, I just don't feel like doing this anymore. No, like, this guy's been through hell and back, and like, clearly if you physically can't do it, you physically can't do it.
And keep in mind, he's saying goodbye to $65 million.
A lot of freaking money.
He also has to pay back $25 million.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's got to pay back $12 million in his signing bonus, and then he also got a roster bonus this year that he's probably got to pay back as well. So, and now maybe the Colts are going to make a deal with him. There's some teams that will say, you know what, we'll kiss the money goodbye. You were a major player. This happened with Calvin Johnson and the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And this is why he has such a bad relationship with them. But, yeah, like so he made this decision knowing financially, like, he could have phoned it in. He could have came back and just been a bad quarterback and just like, you know what, I'm just going to check down every 3 seconds like Derek Carr.
Tom Brady.
What?
Tom Brady.
But at least Tom Brady gets him to the
Tom Brady's
playoffs.
won the Super Bowl at 41 years old. Listen, I get it. You're a Jets fan.
Yeah.
He's been
Thank you, Belichick.
He's been whooping your ass for 20 straight years.
Belichick's been whooping our ass.
At a certain point, you need to just learn to lay down and just take it. Like, they only got maybe 5 more years of doing this to you.
Yeah.
Some of us are Giants fan and understand how to beat good teams. Not at the moment, but in the past.
They can't beat bad teams at the moment.
We're fine.
Well, yeah, we got to figure that out. Well, now
we'll get into that later.
Mark Sanchez beat Tom Brady in a playoff game, and that's what I choose to remember him for.
Well, also, so we last had you on when the draft had just happened, and they had drafted Daniel Jones, and you were not happy.
No,
so
I wasn't.
After looking at this preseason, we'll go back to the Andrew Luck thing in a little bit, but I actually kind of wanted to hear more about that.
I went from apocalyptic hatred of Daniel Jones into cautiously skeptic. It's still, here's my thing. It's still preseason.
Yes,
it's still preseason. Like, lots of people have shown greatness in preseason and sucked asshole in the real game because you're still not going against the top tier guys. I will say he's made some nice throws. He's a lot more athletic than I had originally seen the tape of. And you know, I still think that he would have been there at 17, and we could have gotten Josh Allen, who somebody compared to LeBron James the other day of football.
I mean, they're
who's been an absolute beast for the Jaguars. It's fine. Like value wise, I stand by my critique of picking him at 6 or 7, whatever it was. But because I think he would have been there at 17. But as of right now, I'm definitely much more warm on Daniel Jones.
That's good to hear. I mean, especially because he's your quarterback. And like you said, keep in mind,
quarterback, man. That's my quarterback. Remember T.O.? What a time.
And keep in mind, preseason, like Deshaun Kaiser had a good preseason 2 years ago. Then the team went 0-16 for the Cleveland Browns.
If that man got you Baker, you should be grateful.
Hugh Jackson, Deshaun Kaiser, man, what a duo!
Right,
4-0 in the preseason, 0-16 in the regular season. So
that'll tell you, like preseason does not matter that much. No. Like
the 07 Lions went undefeated, also.
That's a running theme. You go undefeated in the preseason, you go 0-16 in regular season.
So purposely lose a game in the preseason. I mean, basically that's game 4. Just like, all right, we'll throw the worst guys out there. You guys don't win at all.
I can't believe they still even do game 4 as a preseason because they're just so pointless.
I think in the new CBA, or they're going to come up with some kind of deal to cut down on the preseason games because a lot of the stars don't play them anymore anyway. So it's really just to see who you have on your roster.
It's just making cuts. Like you bring in 110 guys to camp, you got to get down to 53. It's finding out who's more or less. You also know your first 40. It's those 13 slots that guys are fighting for.
And practice squad.
Yeah, and more importantly, making hard knocks. Like that's the most important thing.
Oh, absolutely, because you need those guys who you can go ahead. Like the Browns had somebody at a tight end that I don't even know if he's Kajust. It was and his brother, who by the way was drafted as a tackle this year, but he was a tight end on the Browns, and they focus on Kajust the whole time on Hard Knocks. Then this year they'll have somebody else. That's basically, you're right. They're just characters on Hard Knocks.
Yeah, they're all TV characters at this point. By the way, how great is John Gruden on Hard Knocks this season?
Better than he is on the sidelines.
He's made for TV.
And he's so good. Like, listen, they just signed him to another 10-year, $100 million deal. I'd watch him on Hard Knocks forever. I don't care if the Raiders go 4-12 every season. They're not my team.
Yeah, well, that's the key thing. I'm pretty sure Raiders fans would be upset.
Listen, they're locked in for at least. You figure they're not going to fire him at least year 6.
I think.
Because now you have to pay out $80 million. And plus, they're moving to Vegas, so we got at least.
I don't get what convinced that guy to sign that contract and give that out.
They think they look like each other. That's their running theory.
Well, they kind of look like they're related.
I could totally see in an interview John Gruden just being like just talking to the guy because he is a football guy, being like, this guy, yeah, I believe in him. Him and Rex Ryan, I'm like, I feel like in an interview room, there's no one better. On the field, sure.
And we were talking before about the Giants and Daniel Jones. The one thing I was saying, I think when you were on, when we had you on, I was saying he's kind of like discount Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
We haven't seen more than what we would have seen from Tannehill in a preseason game.
That's true. I like to think of him as more of a discount Matt Ryan.
Well, and that's kind of what Tannehill is a discount Matt Ryan.
No, but I'd rather say my version. It sounds better.
Well, yeah, it's maybe
it's like a level above.
It's a little above. So, like, all right, Matt Ryan's a discount
Tom Brady.
So, I'll take that. I'll take that, like 3 down from Brady.
And Tom Brady's a discount Trent Dilfer. No, he's a real expensive Trent Dilfer.
Are you really one of those guys who's like, Tom Brady's a system quarterback?
I am 100% one of those guys.
Yikes, I can't imagine living in denial like that.
How is that denial? You can't hit a guy for more than 5 yards.
Yeah, and he's 42 years old.
Like, and he kisses his son on the lips.
Well, now he's definitely a system quarterback then at 436.
Also, I'm all in on him kissing his son on the lips. The more dads should kiss their sons. Enough for this patriarchy.
Just leave the tongue out of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you gotta slip the tongue in so you know it's real. That getting cut?
No.
That's all right. Don't edit this.
I don't know. Have you seen it? Very rarely gets edited.
No.
Anyway, so back to Andrew Luck, man. This is going to be it's an end of an era.
Yeah.
Right? But it's the people now that the debate is RG3 is still in the league and Andrew Luck isn't.
But he took a year off.
That's
so fair. As long as Andrew Luck comes back in a year.
Well, all right. So let's stay woke on this. Andrew Luck's dad is the commissioner of the XFL.
Yes, I heard about
Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon's brand new, returning football league. It's coming back.
The retro XFL.
Could it be like they're playing a massive power play to give them a huge new star of that league? I don't think it's insane to think that.
It's the football equivalent of Hulk Hogan going to WCW. It's a false flag is what it is.
I don't know what any of that meant.
That's Jesse Ventura.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think that would happen because the amount of money he can make just being on the Colts, like
money. Yeah,
you're
money-wise,
kissing
unless-
away. Like I said, you're kissing away almost like $65 million.
Yeah, but what if Vince McMahon gives him $100 million?
Do you think Vince McMahon's really gonna give him $100 million? They're not paying the rest of the players that much.
Yeah, but Vince McMahon doesn't give a shit about other players.
Also, because he'd still have his contract. I think there's probably something in the contract about who you're allowed to play with in retirement.
I'm sure.
So,
Well, there was all the leagues though when they signed those contracts.
but you think they don't keep that in mind in case the guy retires?
That's
Like,
true.
what happens if this guy retires and goes to the CFL
That's true.
or Euro Disney or whatever, or any kind of other or the what's it called, arena football?
Arena football, yeah.
But
So,
I think like the one person like we're not thinking about in this whole thing is OJ. I mean, he drafted him in his fantasy league, and it's like OJ. He's had his back against the wall like every day for the past 25 years, and the guy just wants to play fantasy football.
I agree.
Look, what did OJ ever do to you? What did he ever do to deserve it?
I think we can all definitively say drafting Andrew Luck last night is the worst thing O.J. Simpson has ever done.
It sure is.
No
Well-
comment from the lawyer.
I mean, he. I don't know what else he's done, to be honest. He did make those airplane movies, right?
Naked Guns.
Yeah.
1 and 2 are pretty good. The third one he phoned it in.
Gotcha.
Come on, O.J.
Yeah, I don't know about. Maybe he should go back to just playing football instead of playing fantasy.
He
I'd
looks
love to see
pretty
OJ make
good.
a comeback.
I mean, I'm sure
For
there's.
74, he looks great.
I hear the Chargers need a running back,
Yeah, Melvin Gordon's still
I'm sure OJ
or
even
even the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yes, still a lot of holdouts at this point. I mean, we're what 10? We're about 10 days away from
Yeah,
football
we're getting
starting. This is that
close.
Thursday. It's a week from Thursday, so 10 days away. Thank God.
Dude, this is going to be an interesting year, especially. But that's the thing. That's the shocker with this whole Andrew Luck thing. It's happened 2 weeks before the start of the season.
Yeah, well, I mean, you figured he was fighting back the whole time. I mean, he clearly just felt like he couldn't do it, or started the season on the DL. But
and plus after a while living in Indiana just weighs too much on you.
well, listen, thankfully in Indiana, Andrew Luck's the best looking guy there.
That is
Anywhere
true.
else, I don't know if he realizes this, but being ugly and out of the NFL is no way to go through life.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have
Ugly
$1
with-
million,
I got my book club. I got my wife.
That's my Andrew Luck.
I mean, if you got millions and millions of dollars, you could find people to hang out with you.
That's true.
Like, you could just pay friends. That happens.
Like Ted Turner was able to get laid, so why can't Andrew Luck?
Yeah, but Ted Turner had a lot more money than Andrew
That's
Luck.
true.
I guess the real question is, what do the Colts do from here?
I guess you have to tank this season, right?
Lean in on
Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett, but here's the thing, Jacoby.
Tank for Tua?
No, they already have a
They're
great
already-
quarterback.
But this is the thing. Like,
They got Chad Kelly,
They
baby.
do have swag, Kelly.
I'm all in on Chad Kelly.
I think. Well, think about it. They Jacoby Brissett got them a couple of wins, and when they were a crap team, like
Yeah.
they didn't have anything on
But
that
Jacoby
team.
Brissett's like a really good backup. He's not your starter though.
Well, no, what I'm saying is like, are they really going to tank? Like, no team ever really
No,
truly
they're-
tanks.
they're
How
really-
you tank is you get rid of good players and
Yeah.
you try to accumulate
They
assets.
do have a lot of talent. They've really rebuilt this team to get back into
Great
contention.
offensive line.
Offensive lines there. So I mean, I don't know. Can you trade for somebody? But not really. So you have to. You need a new number one quarter. Like Jacoby Brissett will win you some games, but he's not leading you to the playoffs.
This is what you do if you really want to tank. You go to like the forest somewhere in the middle of I don't know, Northern California. You go in, you see a shirtless, bearded Mark Sanchez chopping wood. It'll be like, Mark, we got one last job for you. And then as he's like going into the helicopter, he walks into a tree and like fumbles the axe.
The only problem is going 0-16 sucks for a fan base.
Yeah, it's not a good time.
Well, they had like Peyton Manning for like 16 years and had Andrew Luck for an extra 6. So
They did. They were able to bounce
they're-
back nicely, but I mean, 2 is gonna be the most scouted out, and then the year after that's.
Well, there's also Herbert too.
Justin Herbert. I keep forgetting about him.
I don't think they're going to be high enough this year to get it. I
No.
don't. I think it's going to have to be next year, and I think they have to
trade
try.
down. You could trade for it.
Well, that's the thing.
Put
You're going to have
together
to
some other
trade
pieces.
assets to get them.
Yeah, I mean you have to though, because you need a number. Now you need to start. You need a franchise quarterback.
The other option would be is maybe trade for Rosen.
Yeah, but why would the Dolphins give him up?
Be-
Do they love Fitzpatrick that much?
Well, no, because I think the Miami Dolphins are trying to tank. So if Miami Dolphins are in the position to draft a quarterback this year, they're either going to do one of two things,
Yeah, but
right? They're either going to trade down to accumulate assets, or they're going to draft a quarterback.
Yeah, but if you want to tank, like Ryan Fitzpatrick is not the guy you want because he's like just good enough to get you like 6-7 wins, but like not nowhere near good enough to get you to the playoffs.
Fitzpatrick's the best guy for it because at least it's exciting when he sucks because you never know if he's going to throw for 500 yards that day or 5 interceptions.
Yeah, but to tank though, I'm saying just to like tank and just be bad. No, he's not a good quarterback, but he'll win you like just enough games to keep you out of those top 10 picks. So.
Yeah, but he'll lose. You know, and he's getting older in age. You figure he's going to lose you more at this point.
Yeah, we say that every year, but then he was like,
he'll throw out some. He won the first 3 games last year, like, and that was a lot of teams just not taking them seriously.
Yeah. Also, because those offensive
the Bucs
weapons
also have a lot of talent too.
Yeah, like their offensive weapons with O.J. Howard, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Last year they had Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, the Bucs should have been better, a lot better these last few years than they've been. It's just Jameis Winston's been a massive disappointment.
Well, they literally had no defense last year.
That too.
And their O line was a bunch of guys they hired from Starbucks.
Yeah.
So between those,
can't believe I didn't get hired.
Right? Like I'm sure you were like next on the list.
So close.
And then you could have used your football savvy to become a stand-up comedian because you could have used that like, I'm the starting left guard on the Buccaneers.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and let me tell you, that's where a lot of my comedy came from. Actually, was just being the funny guy on the team. Yeah. Hey now.
Yes. So, are there any last thoughts on this Andrew Luck situation?
Sucks to be the Colts. I wish Andrew Luck all the best. I did like watching him play.
Dude, he was fun because they could be behind in a game, and I actually feel who I really feel bad for is T.Y. Hilton because now he's got Jacoby Brissett and Chad Kelly throwing him the ball. That's the guy who's on the later stage of his career.
Yeah, T.Y. Hilton's got maybe 2-3 years left
at most because he's a downfield threat. He's a speedy receiver.
He's slowing up, so maybe the Colts do the right thing and trade him somewhere to contender to get some picks.
Yeah,
Jets. We literally have like Robbie.
The Giants need a receiver really badly.
Giants need literally everything really bad except a running back or tight end, but
the
everything
most exciting
else.
running back in the league, but that's about it.
Yeah, well, you guys also have to figure out who's your starting quarterback.
It's Eli Manning.
Yeah, that's the problem.
No, I'm fine with that.
He can't hit like right now. His arm strength's kind of waning.
Nah, he's got it. He's fine.
It's like, all right, I'm gonna throw it to. Oh, I threw it at the ref.
Well, to be fair, we don't have anybody to catch the ball. Golden Tate's gonna be out the first 4 games of the season.
You had people to catch the ball last year, and you didn't.
No, Odell sucked. Odell was out most of the last season too. People forget that.
You guys still had Sterling Shepard, Evan Ingram.
Sterling Shepard's one of the most overrated guys in the league. He never catches it when you need him to. Listen, I'm not saying Eli's at his peak.
Isn't he just the guy they gave a contract to?
I'm aware. I'm aware of our current wide receiver core. It's not great. I don't like the whatever. We can get into it later. What's next?
Also, one of the news items that came up last night was Lamar Miller had a torn ACL or potentially has a torn ACL.
Oh, I didn't even hear about this.
Yes, this was
kind
of
overshadowed by something a little bit bigger.
Yeah, a little tiny bit, but that's huge.
Yeah, he got hit in the. I guess he planted his foot. Helmet hit his leg.
Oof, that's the worst.
And they're fearing it's a torn ACL because it went right above the knee. But the good thing is they traded for Duke Johnson a couple weeks ago. Now I think they spent quite a bit on him. It was a conditional 4th rounder to potentially be a 3rd rounder, but I think Duke Johnson could be a 3-down running back.
Yeah, they can get something out of it. I mean, the nice part is in the modern age, the running back position is not nearly as important. But
yeah, the big problem is they don't have an offensive line in general.
Exactly, and they really rely on Deshaun Watson just to run around the defense.
He's gonna die at one point.
Oh no, that's the problem with this is that the high-powered speed offenses work so well in college is that you just need your quarterback to be the most athletic guy in the field. But in the NFL, everyone's the most athletic guy in the field, and they're going to take a lot more hits. Like, I don't care how fast your guy is. Like, sure, you can do your Russell Wilson bullshit and duke out 8 guys in a row, but eventually, number 9's going to hit you.
Well, speaking about that, I was watching the Arizona Cardinals game, and Kyler Murray, just got toppled on. They had a 300-pound defensive lineman just fall on top of Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
I
heard they took off another inch off his height.
Dude, that's a big question because he doesn't look huge either on the field.
By the way, absolute bullshit when they measured him at 5'10". He is 5'8" max.
Yeah, he's small. Now, I don't actually have a worry. But he had a lot of passes batted down at the line of scrimmage, which was one of those things that people worry about with short quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It's also one of those things you worry about with really tall quarterbacks because apparently, like anybody above
Throwing-
6'7",
Yeah, it's
seems to
too big.
throw it
That's
like
the Mike Glennon issue.
Mike Glennon, Brock Osweiler,
Osweiler.
That's why every quarterback wants at 6'3", 6'4". Like that's like everyone's
to
like,
6'5". 6'5" is good.
Yeah.
Most of the good quarterbacks are about it's like between that range
Yeah.
though. But first off, this brings up the big question with preseason. Like, how many? Everybody wants to get their starters into preseason at one point just to warm them up. But this is what ends up happening is that you get a lot of these players who get on the field for the first time.
Yeah, and somebody gets tagged like naturally as you would.
And Lamar Miller goes down with an injury, and I'm sure we'll hear a couple of more. We've already had a few.
I mean, yeah, no one. Thankfully, it's the rep to the last preseason game, so no real starter is going to be getting anything. They'll do their walkthroughs basically at the beginning of games, but no one's going to kill each other.
And I brought up Kyler Murray before, and have you guys watched any of the other the preseason 3 games or the?
I've been watching the
I've
Jets.
missed a lot of
and I watched a little
preseason
bit of the Cardinals Raiders.
It's the one downside of stand-up is that night during games. So
Yeah, it's a hard time like kind of fitting it in.
that's why I don't do stand-up on Sundays.
That's why I have NFL Game Pass. Not a sponsor, although they sponsor every other podcast out there
You
that
get
does
that,
football.
baby. That'd be a good sponsorship.
Yeah,
Right,
would be.
there you go.
I'll come full-time on this podcast.
Here we go. Yo, so NFL Game Pass. Yo, come.
Holla at your boys.
Yeah, right?
Our sponsor, Big Berry Podcast, whichever one you want to do.
Yeah, there we go. So anyway, Kyler Murray, in that I watched him in the Arizona game. He smack pummeled like it was, and not only that, but one of my big worries now is after watching the last 2 games with Kyler Murray in them, the preseason, I'm worried about Kliff Kingsbury being an offensive play caller.
Yeah, I still don't understand that hiring. Like the guy was a mediocre college coach. Sure, he had
Wasn't
some
even a
high-
head coach.
Yeah.
He was the OC for the Texas Raiders.
When sub 500 with Patrick Mahomes as his QB.
Exactly. Like clearly, like he has some offensive, like I guess, scheming ideas, but like he's not putting it all
For
together.
college,
For
though.
college, yeah.
That's the thing. And college is different than the NFL. So there was one play that I was watching the other day with Kyler Murray on the field. Like this was the one where he actually they had a safety in the end zone. And first off, they had no hot reads. So if you know what a hot read is, it's when you basically a player's coming. If you have like a blitz, so your 5-man protection is not going to hold up. You have a player you could check it down to. Usually sometimes it's a running back, but you could have a receiver on a crossing route or a receiver running into the flat. The flat is the area to the side of the offensive line. So that basically you have a place to throw the ball. So either you can get rid of the ball or you're throwing it to a player and they can get a couple of yards. They didn't have anything like that, and their protections were horrible. Not only that, but their offensive line protection is really weird too. They're spreading them out almost like this is college football, and the center's left alone on an island going up against some of the most athletic guys in the NFL.
I know you're telling me no center, basically no offensive lineman can take.
Aaron Donald.
That's what I was about to say. Thank you, Aaron Donald.
Who they play
one-on-one,
twice a year.
Who's going to play twice
yeah.
a year, and he's the guy's an absolute animal. Like I played offensive line in college. I know the position pretty freaking well. You need to be able to be scheming and staying in like that's the thing is you're a unit. You're not individuals. Like that's how this works.
Yeah.
Like so being able to scheme up double teams and take I don't know. I'm an old school power O guy. When it comes to offensive scheme, it's like so many teams. Yes, I get it. You want to spread the ball out because people like points, but also you need to know how to grind. Like really, just get in there and just mash the ball down a little bit. But I think the Cardinals are gonna be a disaster this
You
season.
describe that in a really hot way. Just grind it down, getting the balls
Football
in.
is very sexual.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, you're grabbing balls. It's a lot of big guys. A lot of touching butts.
A lot of slapping ass.
Yeah. Oh, especially where you got to stick your hands when you're trying to get the ball if you're under center.
When was the last time a quarterback was under center in the NFL? At this point, though,
I mean, they were sticking Kyler Murray under center
I know,
last
I'm
night.
just joking. Because everybody's in the shotgun now.
Yeah, well, that's because college, they almost are never under center.
Yeah. No one does under center anymore because everyone's all about a high-powered offense, but defense wins championships.
And, well, that's the saying.
Well, no, it's true. I mean,
Look at the Pats.
Look at the last Super Bowl, though.
Yeah.
Well, that was mix of good defense and then some
bad
really
off-
bad offense.
I think
Jared Goff was terrible.
No. I think it was more so Rams defense played well, and then for like the Pats side, I think it was just Goff was just so horrible.
Well, no, also Belichick.
No,
No.
Stephon Gilmore or Dante Hightower could have been MVP, but they gave it to freaking Edelman.
Well, yeah. Well, Edelman was the only. Again, they only gave a shit about offense.
Yeah, that is true.
It's true.
But also, since you were talking about what position on the offensive line did you play?
I played guard. It was in college, but I was too small to play tackle. I played tackle in high school, and I used tackle in the center. But I was the quick guy.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of trapping, a lot of pulling, a lot of double teaming and stuff. And
So when you're run blocking, so when you saw him trapping him, is when you're pulling the guard, you're moving, like, because you said he's the quick guy, you're moving the guard.
yeah,
And
get to that second level.
often you use that a lot in outside zone. You can, you'll do it in power schemes as well if you're doing some gap power. But what I was really getting to is, who was more athletic, the offensive lineman or the defensive lineman?
Different types of athleticism, I suppose. But I mean, if you're a traditional athlete's D-line. They just need to be so much quicker off that ball because, offensive line knows the snap count ahead of time. So, offense, it's more reactionary, and you're trying to stay put. And, the defensive lineman, he's bringing his forward momentum on you. And so you're the stopgap.
Yeah, you're trying to hold him back long enough so that he doesn't hit the quarterback.
I know. See, now I feel like we should be standing up and I should be showing you how to bird dog real quick. God, I haven't played football in years though.
So
I'm getting old, Walter.
But that also explains though why the Kliff Kingsbury offensive line setup is really bad, because when you have the tackles on the outside versus so if you ever notice, you watch the guard, the center, it's really hard to get through a guard and a center because you have guys who are built and they're stuck together, right? Easiest way, it used to be a lot of times you wanted a good pass rusher on the outside. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, you're seeing a lot more D tackles, a lot of 3 techniques trying to rush from the inside because getting to the quarterback through a straight line is quicker.
Yeah.
And you're pushing the pocket up in front of them, and that creates a lot of tension. Basically, it's that old, what's the quickest spot between 2 places, a straight line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now when you're putting space between the center and the guards, and you're giving the defensive lineman a one-on-one with the center, and being able to go ahead and pick whichever way he's going, he's going to eat up the offensive lineman alive.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't expect much out of the Cardinals this season. You said you wanted to do some predictions, right? Playoff.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's let's do that right now. Actually, who do you guys think are making it to the playoffs in the NFC?
NFC.
You
go first.
All right, NFC. All right, I think North. I think that's Bears division this year. I honestly think Bears. I think I said this last time I was on the podcast. I think Bears would have won the Super Bowl if Cody Parkey could make a goddamn kick. But I could only see them getting better. Their defense is overwhelming. I seriously do think Mitch Trubisky's an underrated QB, so I'm picking Bears to repeat as NFC North champions. NFC East. I think this might be a little bit of a hot take, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I think it's gonna be the Cowboys. If it was 100% bet that Carson Wentz was gonna be healthy, I would pick the Eagles, but I'm still picking Dallas. I think Dak is not that too far behind Wentz.
Even though they have probably one of the best backup quarterbacks now in Josh McCown.
Yeah, who doesn't love Josh?
Dude, he'll be the next.
He was your guy.
He was going to be the next guy who leaves the Eagles with a $50 million contract after he was about to retire.
I know. God, so smart. Good for him.
Yeah,
dude.
He was a great mentor for Sam Darnold, and he was good his first year with us, but he was garbage. Those games he played last year.
All the important games he was garbage in.
Oh, of course.
That's how it works.
Yep. So I'm picking. With or without Zeke, I'm picking Dallas because, again, you don't know if Wentz is going to be healthy for the Eagles. And the Giants or Redskins, they're not good enough to make the playoffs, if you ask me. So I think Dallas is the safest bet for the East.
So we got Bears and Cowboys from you.
Yeah.
What about you, Mr. Barry?
Me? All right, so we're just doing – all right, I'm picking the Eagles in the East as much as it kills me as a Giants fan. I think Carson Wentz is going to be healthy this year. You haven't heard too much out of him, this preseason, but I think that's actually for the better. He's a lot of people's pick for MVP this season, which I can also see. Plus, you figure the Eagles had a classic Super Bowl hangover last season, so they're going to be coming out. They're going to come back hungry.
Gotcha.
In the North, I'm going Packers because I know that Bears defense is nasty, but I don't trust Mitch Trubisky. Plain and simple. And Aaron Rodgers, I still stand by as the best quarterback in the league.
I would agree with that.
Bringing in Matt LaFleur, I think it's going to be a big change for them, big change up. I think they just needed some new blood, which I think they're going to get a nice infusion of. I think it's going to be close. I do think it's going to be close. I think the winner's probably going to be 10-6, but one of those 10-6, but he had more wins over the other team.
Yeah.
Because Aaron Rodgers does own the Bears. He does.
And not only that, well, and he played well against him when he was injured last year.
Yeah.
Playing
Yes.
against him.
Oh,
Bad times he's come
coming
out
off-
on one leg and beaten guys
Yeah.
is just obscene.
Coming off the bench last year, that was just something magical to watch. Like I'll say this as like an unbiased fan, there is no player in any sport like that I enjoy watching play more than Aaron Rodgers.
When he's at his best, like just the Hail Mary throws are so fun to watch.
Yeah. Well, and that was why him and Luck for a while were two of my favorite quarterbacks to watch.
Yeah.
And now it's down to Rodgers, and how many more years do we got of that guy?
Rest in peace.
So I actually kind of side with Mr. Barry on this one. I was going with the Packers and the Eagles because I mean, listen, if the Dallas Cowboys offensive line stays healthy and their defense plays to what they did last year, I think they will make a wild card spot, and that'll probably be one of my wild card picks for the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as who's winning the division, I'm going with the Eagles with a potential wild card spot for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And the Packers, I think this is the bounce back year. They spent a lot on defense. They got 2 pass rushers in free agency, plus they drafted Rashawn Gary, who I was not a huge fan of. But just because I wasn't a fan of somebody doesn't mean they can't end up being a good player.
Right.
Sure.
But so I side with that one. What about the NFC South, you guys?
NFC South.
this is the most
I think the Saints are going to repeat. Like they looked. I know they're probably. I don't think they're going to be like as good as they were last year necessarily, but I still don't see Matt Ryan's getting older. Like freaking all that Carolina has is like Christian McCaffrey. So I'm picking I'm picking the Saints to repeat. They did look good yesterday, so I think they might be one and done. But to win the division, I'm sticking with Saints repeating.
See, I think NFC South is gonna be the best division in football. I think this year, like at least competitively speaking, because I'm picking the Panthers. I think I'm thinking Cam Newton's gonna be a comeback.
Love Cam Newton.
I think he's gonna be comeback player of the year. I think Riverboat Ron's gonna put it back all together. I think they're gonna do it. I think it's gonna be very tight though. I think the Falcons are gonna bounce back a little bit after another downturn, and I think the Bucs are gonna be better than people think. I think bringing in Bruce Arians as head coach and bringing in Todd Bowles as defensive coordinator is really gonna. Because Todd Bowles not a good head coach, but I think he's an excellent defensive coordinator.
I don't disagree with their defense being a lot better, especially because you
I
have
know-
to get
I
better than
know
their
it's-
defense last year
And
anyway.
I know it's Jameis Winston, but this is a payday year, and I think guys like to
Could
get
buy a
paid.
lot.
Oh, you
Crab
believe in the
legs.
contract year
No, I very
narrative.
much believe in contract years.
Could buy a lot of crab legs with that contract.
Goddamn right, yeah.
See, I'm leaning more towards the New Orleans Saints with maybe the Atlanta Falcons getting the other wild card spot because honestly, I think that first off, we're not too far removed from the Falcons being a major contender.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
It's like that's why I think it's gonna be. I think a lot they're gonna might eat each other alive here.
I think Cam Newton. The only issue I have is
Cam Newton.
he's just been injured again.
Well, I know, but that's what I think. I think he's gonna come back. I think he's gonna come back healthier than ever.
Well, he just injured his ankle.
Listen.
I mean, it might have been a light ankle, but
light ankles happen. I don't know. I can see him having a big year.
I listen.
Cut-
You're right.
cut-
When he's healthy, he's great.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
The problem is you take too many hits at some point.
Yeah,
Eventually,
they were in it for most of last year.
And what happened is his shoulder went out.
Shoulder went out. They went out. But like up until they were leading the division up until I want to say week 10.
Yeah, they were doing
they
good.
were in it. Yeah.
And I think the New Orleans Saints have just everything still together from what they had the last 2 years. They have a good O-line. They lost Unger, but then they doubled up on replacing Unger with actually probably better centers. They got Eric McCoy and Eastman. So,
But my point to that too is everyone's like, "Oh, look how old Tom Brady is." Drew Brees is just as old, and you can see the zip on his ball was down a lot last year. And don't worry, he's still top 6 quarterback in the league. But age catches up with you eventually. I don't care how athletic you are.
but here's the thing: they're doing the exact same thing the Patriots are: quick, short game, throw to the running backs, get good matchups.
Yeah.
And then they also have probably one of the stickiest hands at receiver, Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're not going to be good. I'm just saying I can see he's a little faltering. Plus, they're still pretty upset with that call from last season,
Yeah.
which can't distract the team. That's one thing is I think we all agree that it was a terrible no call in the championship game, but also maybe just run the ball on first down. Sean Payton.
Well, running the ball on first down.
You know what I mean? That play series though, where you just kill some clock.
Yeah, that's true. Like trying to eat up some time.
Yeah, because they did the throw and they left on the 40 seconds on the clock
That's true.
for the Rams.
But again, my thing with the Saints is that also their defense has been better the last 2 years, and they're able to play a lot more man coverage. They actually have corners who can play man
Like
coverage.
is like
Marshawn Lattimore?
Yeah.
And Marcus May, and then
When
they
Marcus
also got
May's on
Chauncey
the
Gardner.
Jets.
No, not Marcus May. Was it Marcus Williams?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are all these safeties named Marcus? That's my
I
big
don't know.
question.
Yeah,
that's what we got to figure out. Why is it just you name your kid
Stop naming
Marcus
your
and they
kid
become a good
Marcus.
safety?
Yeah.
Or at least league average safety, depending on which Marcus we're talking about. Actually, both those are pretty like a
Marcus
slightly
May's
above
problem
average.
is just that he's hurt all the time. Like I think him and like.
But they also got Chauncey Gardner Johnson. They got they still have Cam Jordan, who's really underrated as far as
but
a pass
I heard
rusher
didn't
goes.
he tell her his ACL? I heard Cam Jordan. I think he got hurt like recently. I'll look it up.
There's a lot of these. All right. Well, if that's the case, we want to switch to the NFC West.
Yes. And
And as we all agree, we're all picking the Cardinals to.
oh yes,
Oh, yeah,
right.
without a
Given
doubt.
our super pro Cardinals stance earlier.
Yeah, I know. We're being contradictory, guys. No, Rams. Is this really even a question for anybody else?
I'm picking the Seahawks.
Really?
I'm picking the Rams to get a
See,
wild card, but
I'm
I'm
picking
picking
Seahawks for the wild card.
no. It's like I think Rams are a good team, but I think Goff. I could just see Goff just
if
declining
Goff
a bit.
progresses, you're right.
Yeah, and Todd Gurley's going to be
but here's the
banged
thing,
up
They
also.
have the best backup quarterback in the league now.
Oh yeah,
Blake
Blake
motherfucking
Bortles.
Well, yeah, because
Ripping Sigs.
Brissett's no longer a backup quarterback.
Yeah, he's the
Well, he's going to be a backup quarterback once Chad Kelly gets his job. But
yeah, exactly.
So I think I'm going Seahawks on this one, man. I think Seahawks win it. Because I can see it depends on whether Sean McVay. First off, I think that defense still they haven't been able to get that defense totally right. They played really good defense at some points last year, and they really haven't replenished, especially the back end.
Yeah, they really haven't been able to find that.
So you're going to be able to beat them out in a shootout. Granted, you still have to try to worry about Aaron Donald, who is listen. If you're building up a defense, that's the number one guy you want on your defense is Aaron Donald. But they lost a lot of pieces in the interior of their O-line. If Andrew Whitworth goes down, my belief is that team falls apart.
Yeah.
And people are also figuring out parts of McVay's scheme.
I don't disagree with any of that, but I still think McVay is a young genius, like he is. I think he'll find a way to put it together. There was a lot of
He innovates. He's
an innovator, and I think that Goff is a guy who's smart enough, and I think he seemed like a guy who understood how he played in the Super Bowl. I think he wants to redeem himself a little bit. Yeah. Because I remember the mental aspect. This game is 98% mental, and then 2% physical.
So we'll see if he bounces back.
I think he'll bounce back nicely. He's got a good motivating coach in Blake Bortles.
Blake the Snake Bortles.
Listen,
That'll be his new
how much
wrestling
fun-
moniker.
Think about how much fun it's gonna be if the Rams go up like 40-0 on a team, and they pull out Goff in the fourth, and then just got some Blake time.
Oh my god.
oh yeah.
Come on.
And then he throws 3 picks, and they end up being back in the game.
Well, there we
Nice.
go. That keeps games exciting. You're welcome, America.
So who are you guys' wild cards? Because I think mine's definitely the Cowboys and the Falcons for the NFC.
Mine.
Seahawks and Cowboys for me.
Mine are Packers and Rams.
Okay. I'm not gonna sleep on the 49ers. I think that Jimmy G's coming back. I think we really haven't gotten a chance to see Shanahan really coach because they've been plagued by injuries. But I think this year they're relatively healthy. I think there's a chance they could surprise some teams this year. Because remember, there were a lot of people's pick last year to be the surprise team, but then Jimmy G went down week 3, and then nothing. But this year, we'll see.
We'll see if he's able to get back to where he needs to be. He played pretty well last night in the preseason game, but he also didn't play well the other preseason game. So it's very hard to gauge. Again, like we're saying in preseason, we haven't seen him play a real game in almost a year.
Yeah.
And he really he's played less games than Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Like that's the shocker when you put that on like the note. It's like, what? He hasn't played as like a full season's worth of games yet. So I feel a little bit more. I understand why people are picking him as the surprise team. I think also the interior of that offensive line is not that good.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to get beat a lot. But their defense actually is going to be the one that takes a step forward. If they, I think part of their win is going to be part of the defense.
Yeah.
Got Nick Bosa now, so that's huge.
Yeah.
He's also coming off of an injury.
I'd say for all 2 games he'll play because the Bosas are always injured.
Yeah. I think he has an ankle sprain right now, and that was a big worry with him coming out. But they also got the pass rusher from Kansas City, not D Ford. Was it D Ford?
It was it was
D
D
Ford.
Ford, yeah.
Yes, not D Ford. D Ford.
Tom Brady
Definitely D Ford.
Tom Brady could thank his last ring for him.
Yeah, that sucks for him.
So
AFC.
AFC. who we think is going to win the AFC. And
Come on.
AFC East, Patriots.
Do you want to make a case
no,
for the Jets?
It's Pats 100%.
Last year,
they
the
could start
Patriots being Kings.
Here's the one thing I'll agree with you in terms of Tom Brady's system quarterback. His numbers are very inflated, getting to beat up in the AFC East for 20 straight years now.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like, they're literally like him and Peyton Manning. They're like, oh, their numbers are so. They get the first 6 games against dog shit teams every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to be fair, like when Peyton played in the AFC West, they had to play against some good like Chargers and Chiefs teams.
No, I'm not. I'm agree.
Yeah.
He had some good final years there,
Yeah.
but I'm not saying Peyton Manning was a bad quarterback.
No,
Not as good as
he's-
his brother, but I'm referring to the other one, not Eli.
So now we got the easy one out of the way.
Okay.
AFC South.
South. This is.
This
I'm
got
going
a
Jags.
Ooh.
I see. I want always every year I want to believe in the Texans. I really do. I really want to believe in them because I think they deserve it. But every year they just keep fucking. They're gonna make the playoffs and lose in the first round. I just like it's how many times.
They have no offensive line.
No offensive line, but
They got a
Deshaun
worse-
Watson's great, and their defensive line's amazing.
He's gonna
Still.
die.
I'm
Deshaun
aware.
Watson's gonna die behind that
Guess what?
O line.
They'll go 9-7 and make the playoffs. But that's the thing is like they galvanize each other. Because like Jaguars are nice and all, but it's still Nick Foles who's great in the playoffs. But people forget in the regular season.
Still, they
he
don't even
ass.
they don't need to be. They don't need for him to be great in the regular season. He just needs to be better than Blake Bortles,
Which
which,
is hard
he
to
will
do.
be. And they already got that amazing defense. Like they saw like a top 10 defense last year, and they were dog shit because Blake Bortles was just so bad last year. And you also have to remember that Leonard Fournette was out most of the year. And I think if
That's true.
if Nick Foles plays up to just his regular season pace
I can also
and
s-
a healthy Leonard Fournette, I think
My thing is
the
the-
Jags are going to be good.
I don't think any of these teams are particularly great.
Yeah, that's
so
the
here's the
problem.
thing. I see the Titans snaking it too, baby. Small chance of it, like again, contract year for Mariota, lose it or prove it, and I like why can't I think of their coach?
Vrabel.
Vrabel, yeah. I just like the way he takes hits and warm ups. I'm like that guy's gonna win.
Yeah, and listen, he's a good head coach. He's a motivator, and they still they were playing really hard even to the end last year.
They were close, and they have Tannehill as a backup right now, and you figure Mariota will go down quickly and he'll get some time.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. You have a high enough level backup that even
like
if
the
your
NFC's
injury-prone quarterback
So like the
survives.
NFC South's probably the best in terms of high level competition. The AFC South's probably the worst in terms of level of competition. I think they're all equal in parity, but all not great.
Yeah, and it's all different weaknesses.
Yes.
So I think I might go with the Jags on this one too. I think you're going to see another spike year from the Jags, and then next year they'll fall apart again.
You know what? I'm gonna take the Titans just to be different. I think I'm talking myself into it now, but like I like the Jags, I do, but like their defense, I just don't trust Nick Foles, and they have some offensive weapons. Titans, they had a nice year last year, and they were close.
I think Mariota's going to end up getting his ulnar injury again because week one the first 4 weeks they don't have Taylor Lewan, who's their best offensive lineman.
I'm aware, but also Mariota goes down. Tannehill's honestly about a par.
Yeah,
I'm not too worried. You're not losing much.
this is true, and that's why they traded for him.
Yeah.
All right, so AFC West.
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Like I think whoever comes in second in this is going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they're going to be the wild card.
Yeah, because I can see the Broncos making the play for the wild card this year. I know. Listen, I'm a big Joe Flacco guy. I'll say it. The way he throws those pass interceptions, no one's.
Or
But their defense is still pretty nice, and I could see them putting together enough wins and strings of it to make the nice 9-7 or 10-6. But the Chiefs are gonna die. I mean, they did lose a lot in Kareem Hunt, and I guess Tyreek. For a reason, Tyreek Hill's not getting suspended.
yeah, I don't
System
get
works.
that
So
one.
that's good for them. No video. That's all that matters. Audio, yeah.
I
love
agree.
football.
I think we all agreed with the Chiefs. I think the Chargers are one of my wild cards here, and it depends on Russell Okung being there.
Fair. But no Melvin Gordon.
No Melvin Gordon. I think they can get 80% of the production or 70% of the production they got with Melvin Gordon with the guys they have on the roster, and they might trade for somebody, or they might trade. They might trade Melvin Gordon away for something.
That's true too.
Losing Derwin James though, man,
Big.
that was big. Now they honestly one of my favorite guys who they got, Jerry Tillery. He looks like he's playing really well.
Yeah, no, I think listen, the Chargers. I just don't trust Phillip Rivers because he's a mediocre quarterback.
Shots fired.
Yeah, great
Shots
year
I
fired.
stand by that.
Yo,
Win-
that's my boy. Even though I'm not a Chargers fan, I like Phillip Rivers.
Why is he? Like,
I don't
why?
know, because I actually do like the way he plays. He plays hard. He's very good at we're losing,
Yeah, he's
last
really good-
minute win.
He's really good at losing, and he's
No,
also,
no,
he's
like,
also
I
really
mean-
good at blowing in the fourth quarter.
He's also good at doing the exact opposite of winning in the fourth quarter.
All right, we literally just named both the sides of how to be a quarterback. I'm really good at winning and losing in the fourth quarter. Now, Phillip Rivers is the most
The comeback.
is the most overrated quarterback of all time.
Tom
Period.
Brady.
No, that's not even close to being true. Listen,
I
understand. It's not your fault.
Here's
It's
what
not your fault.
He can't throw past the 5-yard
I mean-
line.
At 43 years old.
He wasn't able to do that at 23 either. Like the Super Bowl run, he had one touchdown pass the entire playoffs.
All right, so AFC North.
There was a running game.
All right.
This is another interesting one.
Dude, this has got to be. I think this is probably one of the toughest divisions to
All right,
pick.
want me to go first?
Yeah,
Go
I
right
first.
ahead.
I'm going Browns.
Yeah, that's the hot take pick. I'm going Ravens.
Ravens.
Say Steelers, so it's fun.
Am I allowed to say Steelers? I don't know.
Steelers.
I think I could lose my Browns card on that one.
Yeah, no.
Well, I said Pats as a Jet fan, but they
Yeah, but
win every year, so.
but the Jets barely have a chance of beating the Pats as far as I feel like the Browns have a bit. The thing is, the Browns worry me with the offensive line.
Yeah.
But dude, their defense is going to be crazy good.
Yo, Denzel,
Olivier Vernon,
Oh, yeah.
Sheldon Richardson, Myles Garrett, Larry Ogunjobi, Chris Smith, Zettel.
And-
they have guys who would start on other teams.
And you're also
in the
sleeping on. I
second.
think you're got like the best corner duo in the league with Greedy Williams and Denzel Ward also.
And that's a deep spot too. They
Yeah.
got T.J. Carey. They got Malcolm Mitchell. They played Terrence Mitchell, who played way above grade last year, but he's still a solid player.
Yeah.
And then Demarius Randall's been playing good at free safety. The real issue they have is at strong safety, which actually they got Morgan Burnett, Eric Murray. That's gonna be a crazy defense. They drafted extra linebackers this year, and Schobert's a really good linebacker. He's their best middle linebacker, and he's making plays. And I like what I've been seeing coming out of their defense. The offense I'm a little worried about, but dude, how many points do you have to put up a game with Odell, Baker, Nick Chubb, and they haven't even played those guys.
Oh, and Kareem Hunt second
this-
half of the year.
I know. Well, this is my thing with that. Is I agree. The Browns are looking good for this season, but now all eyes are on them. It's a rookie head coach. It is Baker in his second season, and you know what, Baker, I like the flash. I like how he talks shit. I do like it. But guess what? That's easy when things are going well, and things went pretty well for them last year. If you get off to a slow start and questions start coming in and heads start getting hot, teams devolve. It happens, and it's also the fucking Browns. So it's not like they haven't been used to disaster after disaster after disaster. And I'm not. Listen, they've had a great turnaround these last few years. I think they've done a good job. They inadvertently tanked on purpose, I guess, to get their guy. And I do think Baker is their guy. But I'm saying, listen, as a Giants fan, I've dealt with fucking Odell. He's a fucking pain in the ass.
He is not a pain in the ass. It's Eli who's a pain in the ass.
How is he the pain in the ass when day before
like
playoff
making
game, he's out doing coke on the boat?
Who wouldn't be doing coke on the boat? Like,
Listen, you don't hear that shit out of the Patriots, and this is the reason why they've won 6 Super Bowls.
because they are fine with quarterbacks kissing their son on the
Yeah,
lips.
Seattle
your
though.
son is
Seattle's had that similar situation. It depends on your.
Listen, your top wide receiver wasn't doing coke in Seattle.
Who was the top wide receiver in Seattle at the time? Doug Baldwin.
Yeah, I guess Doug Baldwin was a good wide receiver.
But not at the time. Not when they were getting to the
Yeah, he was solid.
nobody walked her at that
Who's
time.
the guy that went
when
to
they made
Percy Harvin? Yeah, he was.
Dude, Percy Harvin got into fights with people.
Yeah,
Wait,
I'm fine with fighting.
Golden
It's like
Tate.
what you said something about like the you don't hear that from the Pats. Wasn't like Gronk on it? Is like was
Yeah,
it
but Gronk never
for-
did anything wrong. He danced
So does Odell.
and does blow. And
He did,
hooks
is like
up
where
with-
is like
hooks
where
up
do you
with
get where are you getting the
prostitutes
stuff?
and takes plays
Where
off.
are you here? He does not take plays
Yes,
off.
he does.
If he
Well,
takes
it's fine if
plays
he
off,
takes plays
Eli
off,
takes
'cause we
whole
got-
games off.
It's fine because
He
the Browns
takes all
got Nick
games off
Chubb,
Eli.
the Browns got Jarvis Landry, they got David Njoku, they got Rashard Higgins, who is a
You
great.
guys can talk yourself into Odell all you want. All right, listen.
Listen. It's like
As somebody who's been broken up with him now, like it feels.
It's
good to
funny because I remember you being on this podcast a few months ago, and you were like, "No, there's actually a good reason for him to like Odell. He's a great receiver." Like,
Yeah.
you were pissed off about that trade.
yeah. It's like
Listen,
the only place where you can find something
He's
wrong
got
with
Golden
O-
Tate now, is what we
as
understand.
a fan, you live and die by hot take. I'm not excited about Golden Tate. Listen, 2021. That's my year. I'm looking at that's our year. We'll be back.
Ryan Tannehill 2.0 is in the playoffs, but
Eli
losing.
Manning will be leading us to the Super Bowl in 2021.
Listen, the only The idea that Odell is a problem came from a bunch of boomers in the Facebook
No.
comment section who took selfies in their car wearing MAGA hats. That's where that shit came from.
That's not
Go
true.
to
Odell
any
is
any.
a problem. Period.
How is he? He's
All right,
He's
all
going
right.
to win a Super Bowl with the
I think we have to
Browns.
wrap.
He's winning
a
a Super.
playoff game, Odell.
Talk to your garbage quarterback about that.
All right.
Eli's won
In
2
your
Super
corners,
Bowls.
in your corners.
Yes, with a great defense.
All right. So who are the 2 wild card teams?
The AFC, didn't we already say them? No. Who are my picks? Whoever loses the North, so either Ravens or Browns. I feel like Steelers are definitive third, and then I'm gonna pick the Broncos actually.
All right.
Broncos.
All right, my wild card teams. I'm picking the Chargers again, and the Colts. They're gonna go like 1-3 where Brissett's gonna get benched, and then Chad Kelly's gonna ball out.
Swag Kelly time.
Chargers, Steelers. So those are my 2.
Steelers? Oh, I like those picks.
Yeah.
Stuff,
So.
it's gonna be fun this year.
Oh,
Excited.
it's going to be an interesting year. A little bit less interesting without Andrew Luck. So we'll wrap up this episode, and then we'll do the.
Get into our
Fun stuff.
Yes.
fun stuff.
All right. So if you want, you can follow the podcast at Draftvice on Twitter, at Draftvice_football on Instagram. Check out our buddy Sean Barry's podcast, the Big Barry Podcast, and 2 Mike Minimum, and you can follow him at
Big Bear 63 on Instagram.
And special thanks also to Harry Van Ness for being on, stand-up comedian. He's got a show coming up, right?
Yep,
You wanna plug
September 5th. That Levity Live show starts at 8, but you could be there at like 7:15 or something.
it? And
All
what's your Instagram?
Oh, just Harry Van Ness. Real hard to remember. So
I couldn't remember. It's a lot easier to remember than you could follow me at Brojo, BROJO. Death, that thing that happens when you die. And Punch, the delicious drink that Kool-Aid sells. And if you're watching this on iTunes, if you're listening to it on iTunes, subscribe, leave a review, rate it, preferably a good review, right? Like don't say like we suck donkey dick. And then
no, give him 5 stars, but say we suck donkey dick.
oh yeah, that's
5
totally
stars
fine.
at sucking donkey
Yeah.
dick.
Yeah, oh they suck donkey dick on this podcast.
Yeah, this is a good podcast.
Yeah, there we
Yeah,
go.
but we'll get like a loyal following among just like the darkest corners of the internet. So
Listen,
there's that.
You make money that way.
Yeah.
It's true. And also, if you're on the YouTube, like it, subscribe.
Leave a comment saying we suck donkey dick.
There you go. And have a good week.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous about the past and about the future.